What's going on, hikers? In today's video, I'm going to be giving you some backpacking gear hacks as well as some advice in order to make your life a little bit easier and even more enjoyable when you're out on the trail. If you're new to the channel, my name's Jeremiah Stringer, and here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing to the channel because that's exactly what we're all about here. You know, our mission is to help you increase your quality of life on trail, and that's the whole intention of this video. So let's start at the top with number one. If you're like me, you use a canister and a stove in order to cook most of your food. And one of the issues is, once you get low on fuel, you don't want to take this same canister out there because you don't want to run out whenever you're in the backcountry. So here's a few things that you can do. One, you can always carry 2 canisters with you. That is going to be a little bit heavier. 2, it's going to tell you how much fuel is in here. So if you had an empty can in this same brand, you can figure out how much fuel is still left in your canister. And what I do is I'll weigh a full can and I'll weigh my empty can, and then I'll find the difference between those two, and that's how much fuel is in here. And I can do that anytime that I need to, even with a partially empty can. Now, another thing that I like to do, and Senior Hiker 77 did a great video on how to utilize this resource, is our first piece of gear of today. This is an adapter that will let you refill your fuel canisters. Now, my disclaimer, it's going to say on the canister, don't refill them. So what I do is I only refill from the same brand canister, like a carbon copy, exact same thing. So an Ollie Camp fuel canister, I'll have one on the bottom here, I'll have another on top. I'm not going to use Ollie Camp and Jet Boil or whatever brand that you use, MSR or what have you, on your canisters. So don't mix them, and use it at your own discretion. You know, I haven't had an issue with it at all, but just know that it doesn't say that you're supposed to refill them. Number 2 on our list, now that we have refilled all these canisters, well, you're going to have a bunch of empties. And our second piece of gear today solves that issue. So this is a Crunch It tool. This is made by Jetboil, actually, and it has 2 pieces to it. One is to bleed out any remaining fuel that's still in there, and the second piece is it's sharp and it punctures the can, because I don't know if you know this or not, but those fuel canisters are pressurized, and that's what's pushing the fuel out in order for you to light it and use the stove. So it still has some pressure in there even when all the fuel is gone. So you can either use a tool like this, or if you don't want to purchase one, I have in the past, before I got this, I used just a screwdriver and a hammer and just pecked a hole in it. Now, just a heads up, since it's still pressurized, you're gonna get a tss, you know, and it's gonna blow out any remaining fuel and any pressure. So don't let that surprise you whenever you're utilizing a tool like this. Now, once you have your can completely empty, then you can recycle or throw them in the trash, but you definitely don't want to throw them away or recycle them whenever they're pressurized. That can be dangerous. Number 3 on our list is another piece of gear, but I want to tell you the problem that it solves. If you have one of those big fat wallets, like I used to carry one, a leather one, just stuffed full of receipts and cards and business cards and your IDs in there and maybe a little bit of cash. Not much cash for me. But if you sit on that, it kind of throws your pelvis out of whack, especially if you do it all the time, and it'll hurt your back. And I especially don't like taking those in the woods with me. One reason why is it's bulky, and 2, if I lose that, I lose everything that's in my wallet. So my alternative is I'll take a few things with me when I'm backpacking. I want my ID. If I die, somebody can identify me. Hopefully that's never gonna happen, but it is a reality. 2, I want a little bit of cash in case I maybe cross a road or come upon something that, you know, somewhere that doesn't accept cards. That happened to me last week. It's definitely a thing here in Kentucky. Twice I've been traveling for backpacking, and they wouldn't take anything but cash. And then 3, I want a debit or credit card with me, you know, just in case. So what I do is I put those in something like this. It's just a zippered fabric wallet, or this one's Patagucci, right? I say that because Patagonia is so expensive. Another one is a wallet made by Chicken Tramper. This one's made out of X-Pack. So anything like this, or you could keep it simple and just put like a money clip or a binder clip or something like that and take it with you. That way, if you lose it, then you're not losing everything in your wallet. And secondly, it's not taking up all that space. I stick this in like a cargo pocket and I call it my forever pocket. I don't open it until I get back to the truck. Number 4 on today's list. You're probably going to think I'm a little bit crazy, but this isn't even all of them that I own. Here's a foldable spork, a long spoon, another spork, another long spoon, a fork spoon combo, and another spork. Okay, let's talk about this for just a second. So one of the issues that I run into, especially if I'm taking these meals that I rehydrate, like a Mountain House or a Good to Go or a Peak Refuel or whatever your favorite brand is, you rehydrate them and then they're in this bag. And to reach down in there, if you have a short spork or a spoon or a fork, you're getting your hand just full of quinoa or rice or whatever is in that package. I don't like that. And you can get long handle spoons. I don't like, if it's unpolished, I don't like that. I don't like the texture. Or this one's by MSR and it's just kind of heavy. It's not my go-to. I got a new one for you to try out, and this is the one that I'm using. It's by MSR and it weighs 9.5 grams. And that to me is ultra light. It's foldable, so it's more compact because I like to keep my cook kit basically all together. My stove and fuel and cup and canister, everything I want it all inside together. And if I can fold my spork up to stick it in there with my kitchen set, that is just an added bonus. And at less than half an ounce, this spork, it's gonna be my go-to. And it's long, so I'm not getting my hand dirty in those bags or in my cook pot as I'm scooping in there to get some scrumptious backpacking food. When I first started backpacking, I borrowed pretty much all of my gear because I didn't know if I would like backpacking. And then I tried it and I fell in love with it and had to start buying my own gear. So you may be in the same boat, and I'm here to save you some money today. And that is where today's video sponsor comes in, backcountry.com. Longtime supporter of the channel, a huge thank you to backcountry.com for supporting us here at Jeremiah Stringer Hikes. I have a code Jeremiah15. If you use that code, you'll get 15% off of your first order on backcountry.com. They have all kinds of gear. That's where I've gotten a lot of the gear that I'm talking about today. And they have everything from camping, hiking, backpacking to other outdoor activities like swimming, kayaking, climbing, you name it, they got it. They got clothes, they got accessories, they have gear. You can sort it by whatever you need, whether it's man or woman or footwear or all kinds of categories. Now, if you get on there and you're not really sure what piece of gear fits your needs, or maybe you just need to talk it out and decide between a couple of pieces of gear, they have what's called gear heads. And these gear heads are available 24/7. You can either chat with them using the chat feature, or if you want to talk to somebody on the phone, there's a phone number that you can call, and they'll talk you through and basically help you decide which piece of gear is the right fit for you. These people are experts in their field, anything from former Olympians to thru hikers, all kinds of different types of expertise and activities. So I would urge you to check out backcountry.com. Use the code Jeremiah15 to get 15% off your first order, and some exclusions do apply. Number 5 on today's list, I'm going to throw you a curveball, but I want you to hear me out here because I think this is one of the most underrated parts of backpacking. And what that is recovery. So I have a couple of pieces of gear that I want to show you. One is a Rology cork ball, and I use this out on the trail. They have 2 different sizes, and I use the smaller one. This is the larger one. I use it at home a lot. And after a long day of backpacking, I like to roll out my feet. Sometimes I deal with plantar fasciitis, and that really helps basically recover my feet and get me ready for the next day. I'll also use it like on my calves and my quads, just all over, rolling out and releasing some of that tension. I also use my trekking pole. So if you don't have one of these cork balls, you can use a trekking pole instead. and if you collapse it, you can use it kind of like a foam roller. You use it on your quads and your calves. It feels so good. Then when I get home, used to what I did was I would catch a shower, I put my gear up, maybe edit a video, or possibly just sit and watch TV and be lazy. But now I have been using a Hypervolt Go. It's basically a massage gun, and I'm not going to go in depth on it, but it's really simple. It's got one button. You turn it on. It's rechargeable. You press the button, and then you let this thing go to work on you. It's going to beat you up. I don't know if you can hear that. Ooh, but I did chest yesterday at the gym, and it's beating me up. And this thing is absolutely fantastic. So depending on what your budget is, there's different price points for these. This one, it's got a fairly high price point, but I thought it was worth it in order to get the release of tension. I use it a lot on my glutes. It helps my lower back. Just recovery from getting out there and walking miles and miles up and down mountains. So if I were you, I would check one of these out too. Number 6 on today's list. It makes me just want to take a nice nap. Maybe I'll do that after recording this video. It is all about sleep. Anything that you can do, going back to recovery, that's going to help you increase your quality of life on trail, that's what I would do. And one thing I do is make sure that I have a pillow. And that could be something like this, which is a Thermarest foam pillow. It's basically stuffed full of the trimmings of foam that Thermarest uses in some of their pads. They stuck it in a pillow, and this is collapsible. Or you could go with an inflatable one, like a Trekology 2.0, or maybe inflatable combined with some foam padding. Like this is a Nemo pillow, and this is the Sea to Summit Aeros pillow. And if you don't want to take a pillow, use something that you're already bringing. I know some people really love using their insulated jacket like a puffy jacket, and you can roll that up into its hood and use that as a pillow. Or you could stick a stuff sack full of extra clothes or whatever you have at camp with you and sleep on that. But anything that you can take, and my go-to is going to be a pillow, because for a few ounces, if it's going to give me much better sleep, it's 100% worth it. I would get out there and I get my recovery on. If you've enjoyed the video, give me one of these. Comment below and tell me what are some other ways that you help increase your quality of life in the backcountry. Subscribe to the channel and kick the notification bell for the latest notifications. We'll see you in the next one.